Favorite Batman actor?
Adam West.
All right, I'll give you that. I'm not a big Adam West guy, but whatever.
Oh shit.
Kevin Conroy.
Who?
Kevin Conroy.
Name another one.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Val Kilmer. Christian Bale.
Keaton.
George Clooney.
George Clooney.
Maybe.
George Clooney is a Clooney. I mean, George Clooney's a loony. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to sleep, you psycho bastard. Oh!
No, I didn't say Christopher Reeve was the first, but he was the first in the movie.
Good night.
George, what was the guy that got killed? George Reeves. George Reeves. Yeah, I'm not the biggest Adam West. I was never big on that Batman '60s show. It was just a little too wacky for me.
Get to sleep.
All right, Perry. It was good chatting. We were good hanging out. Good save on the stream. You were.
Bullshit, you liar.
Did he shoot himself? I get. I get George Reeves confused with the guy from Hogan's Heroes. Both had a very strange fate. Perry, I'm gonna say goodnight, okay?
Night.
Good night. I'm gonna close you out. He was a good sport. I felt like he deserved a little bit of penance for disrespecting the stream a little earlier, so I wanted to stretch things out a little bit. Yeah, I know Adam West was almost up for James Bond. I can't possibly see that. I don't think he's a very good actor. Yeah, right. Bob Crane was murdered, but George Reeves wasn't murdered, right? Wasn't that an accident? I don't know. Getting confused. Let's spy on Perry with the other cam. I think I closed out the other cam, did I? No, it's still there. He's not doing anything. He's not in frame. Oh, you don't want to see this. He's getting changed. Is he? No. Lights are out. He's off the stream. He can't hear us. Bathroom break. All right. I'm gonna give him his privacy. I can't. There's only so much I can do. Perry will dream of the anime's figure coming to life. Did they ever do Remo Williams like books or a comic series or something like that? Did they ever do? Was there any ever extension or like cheap novels or something like that where they did like more Remo Williams? Because God, yeah, we talked about that on another episode. I love that Remo Williams movie. John Carpenter's best film. That's tough. It's probably The Thing. I think it's The Thing, but there's a lot of good solid runner-ups. I love Big Trouble in Little China. I love The First Halloween, and They Live. But it's The Thing. Really, when it comes down to it, it's The Thing. That's a great movie. Yeah, so Day thinks it's an interesting overtime of PCL. Yeah, I thought he was going to tell me to go f myself at a certain point, but he was engaging with the dialogue, so I went with it. Did I see any memorable matches growing up around Madison Square Garden? Yeah, um, quite a few. I went. There was a period of time in the late '80s, early '90s, where my friend's dad would take us to see pretty much every like once a month the house shows. So a lot of cool, a lot of cool matches. Hogan was usually on the card. So a very good Hogan Honky Tonk Man, uh, which was very memorable, really good. Um, Also, Iron Sheik versus Randy Savage for some reason was very memorable. I really like it. Is an unusual pairing, but I like that a lot. I'd have to really flesh out my memory. Apparently, they made a Remo Williams 2 in 2017. That can't be positive. Really? Is that a joke? Who is Remo Williams? I gotta watch it out of curiosity. Was there anybody associated with the original writing it or anything? Yeah, I agree with this comment. Radio 666. Big Trouble in Little China is great. I agree. Big Trouble in Little China is great. But Escape from New York feels like the concept is better than the actual movie. Yeah, there's a lot of movies like that where the concept is better than the movie, and I totally agree with that. Uh, I'm not huge on Escape from New York. It's fine, but I'm not huge on it. There's a couple of Carpenters. I don't think I've seen every Carpenter film either. Um, I never saw Piper Flair at MSG. I wish I did. I saw a Hogan Flair like in '91. I think I talked about that when Flair first came into the WWF, and he was like, that gimmick where he had he still had the title from the WCW. I never saw Assault on Precinct 13. It's one of those I should probably watch. Escape. We don't talk Escape from L.A. I mean that's trash. That's fucking trash. Uh, that's straight up mid '90s garbage. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Remo Williams was based on the Destroyer series of novels. A bunch of movies were planned. It was produced by Dick Clark, also starring Remo Williams. Yeah, Wilford Brimley's good, and he's actually really good in Remo Williams. I think Carpenter does his own music. Yeah, I think it's funny if you go on YouTube. John Carpenter toured not that long ago, like fairly recently, with a band where he played all of his music from all of the movies. Every movie that he played the Halloween theme, he did music from Big Trouble in Little China, The Thing. Really cool. They pretty much have the whole show on YouTube. I watched the whole thing. I wish it was recorded a little better, but very interesting. And if I had known about it, I definitely would have went. Oh yeah, The Fog and Christine. Starman. Starman's very good. Starman's really good. Different movie for him. Very good. I watched that about a year ago for the first time in a long time. It still holds up. Never saw In the Mouth of Madness either. I should probably see that. By the way, as we're wrapping up, really credit where it's due. Let's give a round of applause to Hero for the Spooky Sammy stuff. One of the most unique mailbag items ever. And I had Perry put that package on on the credenza right underneath the trophy. When he got it on Tuesday, and it just paid dividends every night. It really did. And there's a lot of other smaller things that we didn't get to tonight, but really, really creative. He had, he can explain it better than I have, but he has this. He found this old phone, like a Chinese, like no name brand Android phone that just has a battery that lasts forever, and he loaded all those sounds to come up, timed perfectly, throughout. And boy, and I just, I wasn't going to be satisfied with just hearing voicemails from him the next day or whatever. So I really wanted to go through the extra effort. That's why I set up that extra camera, because he had that's his old camera. That other shot is just his old camera that I just had to move over to the entertainment center with and I got an extension cable for the USB, so it can go as far as it can. But what I really wanted it for was for the microphone, so we can. And I told Perry, and by the way, I would never record Perry overnight without telling him. And I told him, hey, I'm running a diagnostic on the camera, just so you know it's going to be running. So we were able to pick up all that audio and some video, miraculously. So not miraculously, I mean, but it could have gone, it couldn't have come out at all. It could have been muffled, it could have been whatever, but it came out really, the audio came out really well with some decent amount of mastering. I had to really boost the levels to bring it out, but all credit to Hero on that. Just really, really terrific. It worked out really well. And I got to go through a night of the sounds of Perry sleeping. Man of the hour. My dad was busting up earlier when the rooster was on. That's funny. Yeah, can you imagine? Cause it's funny because like there's other things. There was like a knock too, because I had to pick and choose what to play on here. But there was like a knocking one where it was just like knocking over and over again, and it was just like, "Go away, I'm sleeping, you fucking jagoff." It's just like small little things like that. Almost as how much did I have to listen to him sleep talking? Quite a bit, because the recording was low, and I would just take the audio portion to find stuff, because I can look. In like Adobe Audition, I could see like where the peaks are, and so I looked at any noise. So we went to the bathroom quite a bit. There's farting, belching, and then sleep. And then there's like little things that I brought up, and then that's when I can hear him mumbling in his sleep. Like, oh, you fucking son of a bitch! Oh, god damn it! Oh, you piece of shit! Even like an hour after the Amy thing, he was just like, "Oh, you fucking cunt! Oh, you motherfucking cunt!" He's just like, this, or the Moe and Drip thing. He's like, "Moe and Drip, you fucking asshole!" It's like, you satanic demon. It was great. I was waiting to hear me, like, thank you, Tom, thank you for everything you do. There was none of that, but it was just like, oh Jesus Christ, a lot of that, a lot of like little. I'm trying to think of like specific details. I didn't spend a lot of time like focused on those, because I was looking for, I had to do that all today too. I had to put Jesus, like the file for that was so big, and I had to figure out a way. I had to transfer from Perry to me, and then doing it, and then like loading. Even like tonight, starting late. Like I had a family thing I had to take care of, which we started late. But I also had to load that video in. I had to like work on the video a little bit, get the sound up and everything. I was like, man, yeah, I'll put as much as I can on Patreon. I'll definitely put the voicemails that you heard tonight, and a couple of more stuff. But yes, I will definitely put it up. And if I could find his Sleep Talk, yeah, it's going to require me going through it and doing a deeper dive on it, and I can't promise I'm not going to do that tomorrow. But yes, yeah, I will. I will get as much of that as I can on Patreon. I promise that. Of course, what do you think is so difficult for Perry to answer a simple question like, "What's your favorite sandwich?" It's difficult for him to quantify anything. Like, even when he gives a rating, like if he's eating something on the stream or whatever, I'll say, "Oh, what do you rate that?" I give it a 6 or a 7. Well, no, how is that a rating? I give it a 6 or a no. It's one or the other. He's never definitive, and it's like that drives me crazy. It's like. Because that annoyed me when the comment asked the question like, "Hey, what's your favorite sandwich?" or something like that, and he was like, "I don't have a favorite sandwich." It's like the fuck. That's not an answer. And then I wanted to drill him for that. Hey, what's your favorite sandwich? And then he was just like, Chicago roast beef. I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Like, how do you not know? What's your favorite movie? I don't know. Godfather, maybe? Goodfellas? I don't know. Oh, which is it? I don't know. Well, think about it. We'll be here all night. Robert just sent me a great text. This is funny. He says, "I wonder if I'd love to see Perry read his socials from memory. I wonder if he could get his address without the help." I think he can get the address. I think he can get the Tarzana address. Everything else would be a struggle, though. That would be funny to try it. I should have did that. I should have did that towards the end. Right, do it from memory. See, there's often things I think of like that. Where, not that I thought of it, Robert did, but that would have been a good idea to close with. Yeah, there's a lot of good movies, Faster Blade. But what's your favorite movie, Faster Blade? Everybody type in their favorite movie. You're gonna type it in because you know it. You know the answer. It's boom. It's one answer. Yes, of course. Reuben sandwiches, when done right, are great. It is my favorite sandwich. I also like other sandwiches very much. I'm a sandwich fan, but Reuben is my favorite. Tapping out. Hope to remember the early Sunday start. Yeah, well, you'll get the notification. I hope I remember the early Sunday start. I'm saying that now, but I'll try. Plus, I'm kind of babysitting on Sunday as well, so that's going to be interesting. I've never seen the Iron Giant. I'd like to. We all know what Tim's favorite movie is. Raiders of the Lost Ark's great call. That's right up there for me. Blade Runner. Yeah, I want to love Blade Runner. Blade Runner's just not in my top 10. But I respect Blade Runner. Once Upon a Time in the West. Okay. I got to look into that, Mumbles. I don't know what the best place to get it. It's not. There's not a definitive New York City place. I'd have to really. There's a deli near my parents that do a great one, and I'll tell you the best Reubens are the ones that serve it on pumpernickel. That's the way it should be served. It really should be pumpernickel and corned beef. These places that offer a pastrami Reuben's fine, but it's not a Reuben anymore. It's a pastrami sandwich with Russian dressing, sauerkraut, and Swiss cheese. But a Reuben should be pumpernickel bread, corned beef, Swiss cheese, Russian dressing, not Thousand Island dressing, Russian dressing, specifically Russian dressing. A lot of people get away with the Thousand Island too. That's not right. And sauerkraut. I've said this before. I love Blade Runner 2049. I like Blade Runner 2049 more than the original movie. Groundhog Day, fair choice. I can't put a comedy as my favorite. As like my number one spot. Wendy's 34th Street. I don't know that. If I go to New York City to dine, I always try to pat him out. That's a good call. Good dine. I mean, burgers. Every diner has the same burger. Don't get a burger at a diner. But yeah, when you really get into there, like turkey, get a turkey club, patty melt, or a Reuben, and you'll see whether they're a good diner or not. Midnight Run's fantastic. Are you saying Exorcist 3 is your favorite movie? That's a very interesting choice. It's a good movie. Didn't I read about Exorcist 3? And I think I confirmed it when Joe Bob Briggs showed it. I think last year, or maybe even the year before, where there was a whole sequence. There was a whole original structure with Brad Dourif that was filmed but not used. Where it was much darker, and then everything you see with Brad Dourif was reshot months later. But apparently he gave a much better performance in the original shoot, but they didn't use any of it. I never saw the second Exorcist. I never saw the Heretic. I saw the first one and the third one. And I never saw that revision of the Exorcist. Wasn't there a director's cut or something like that? I never saw it. Oh, Mumbles can't name a favorite movie. You can't name a favorite movie? Really? Okay. Well, I'm sure if you think about it, you can narrow it down. Oh, I didn't know that. Did Jeffrey Dahmer show Exorcist 3 to his victims before he lobotomized them? That's crazy. I didn't know that. Man alive. Never saw Night on Earth. Favorite Star Trek series is the original series. There's no other answer. Although I like Next Generation quite a bit. I've never seen Deep Space Nine. I've seen every other one. I've seen Voyager, Enterprise. I don't get into new Star Trek. I didn't see Discovery, and I don't plan on seeing it. But I plan on watching Deep Space Nine at some point. Does Perry show when you see the heat to his victims? No, not that I know of. No, you're wrong, Mitch. Wrath of Khan is not the only good Star Trek movie. Star Trek 4 is fantastic. Star Trek 3 is okay, but it's a necessary bridge between 2 and 4. Star Trek 4 is fantastic, and I like the motion picture. It's for very different reasons. But Star Trek 2 is the great. It's Star Trek 2 is the best because it's a real movie. It's got depth to it. It's literally it's brilliant. It's a perfect movie, just about. There's a couple of nitpicks I have with it, but it is none of the other Star Treks can say about that. I saw the Voyage Home last night. I went to see that's what I did last night. Actually, it's funny. I saw Wrath of Khan again last Saturday night. and then I watched Star Trek 3 on Tuesday night, and last night I went to see Star Trek 4 in a big theater. In a theater, I hadn't seen it in the theater since it came out. It was fantastic, and they're showing it again on Sunday. I think they're showing it on Sunday. So yeah, I think this Sunday's your last time to see it. But it was fantastic, great time. It was great. My first time in a movie theater in a really long time. I think since December. Which series is more moribund at this point? Star Wars or Star Trek? They're both in the tank. I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Fastlane, which is the Star Trek movie involving the whales. That's Star Trek 4, where they go back in time. It was great. It's fun. It's a fun movie. Undiscovered Country, it's fine. It's okay, but it's a little boring to me. I'm not into that whole espionage. I think they could have gone out in a better way. Look, I think any Star Trek movie with the original cast, well, there's only two of them, but the two after Star Trek 4, they're just glorified epilogues. And five is terrible. 5 is just, you can skip over 5 completely. And the motion picture, you really got to see it on a big screen to appreciate it. You know, it's got the best soundtrack. It's really it's the one movie that's very science fictiony. There's no spectacle to it. It's just, you know, it's got its flaws for sure, but I appreciate it more as an adult. I hated it when I was a kid. I couldn't get through it. But it's beautiful to look at. Star Trek Lower Decks is pretty great. That's a hot take. I've not heard that. I've heard the opposite. I've heard it's garbage. But the chances of me seeing that are slim to none. Not because of anything I heard about it. I just don't have any interest in watching a Star Trek cartoon. Yeah, I agree with that. Motion picture felt big like Kubrick's 2001. I think that's what they were going for. Like they didn't go for a Star Wars. They went for a 2001. They went for like big sweeping, visuals and serious. You would never get away with a movie like that today. Never, never, never. You couldn't do it. And that's what I love about it. I love the '70s in cinema for that reason. Is filmmakers took so many chances because they were allowed to by studios and producers. They weren't strangled to like do this or do that, or they were pretty much given a lot of free reign. That's why you get a lot of avant-garde films in the '70s that have weird endings or do things that movies don't do anymore, because it was this strange decade in cinema where these directors came in, that you never heard of. Your Coppolas, your Scorsese, Lucas, Spielberg, and every studio thought they had the next guy that was going to be, a big deal, and they let these guys almost have free reign and be, they're like, oh, we think this character shouldn't die at the end, and the director would be like, oh, I think he should, and the producer would be like, oh, okay, whatever you want, it's your movie. That all changed in the '80s. It's like, no, this is how it's going to end. We want a happy ending. This, that, and the other thing. And you can come up with a whole list of '70s movies that are like that are just very different. Do I ever think they'll release the uncut Event Horizon? I really hope so. It'd be a matter of them finding that footage. I mean, if it exists, that's what it comes down to. Find that footage. I would love to see it. Yeah, but I think it's so built up at this point that it might not live up to expectations. Because in my head, I feel like that's going to redeem the movie and fix all of its flaws. But probably not. It'll probably still be flawed. But I would love to see that. I've read enough about it. Yeah, I've said this before. I'm almost talking about Woody Allen hating 2001 until he saw it again. I didn't like it for a long time until I saw it in the theater. You got to see it in the theater. That's the answer. See it in the theater. I saw it in IMAX when they brought it back in IMAX about 2 years ago. I went by myself and gave it a chance because I knew there was never going to be another chance, or there'd be very few chances to see 2001 on a big screen like that. And what better way to see it in than an IMAX screen? I didn't see it print or anything. It was digital, but it was phenomenal. It was one of the best theater experiences I ever had, and I got it. I totally understood it. Now, am I going to watch it at home? No, no way. But you got to sit. You got to sit in the theater and be completely absorbed by it. And then it's and it's not even in my top 50 favorite movies, but by any means. But I respect the hell out of it, and I will no longer say I don't like it. Yeah, Dune does look good. I'll be curious to see how that plays out. I will see that. There's a couple of movies. We're finally getting to the point, unless they push back things again, where some real movies are coming out. You got the new Bond, which I'm nervous about, but I'll see. You got the new Top Gun coming out. The new Halloween looks interesting. What is everything about the Jackass sequel? It's probably going to be really cringe, but maybe I'll see it. I don't think I'll see it in the theater. I love that, seeing that for the first Jackass movie, seeing that in the theater. That, I think we've talked about that, like that Borat, seeing that in the theater opening weekend was a real experience. You're never going to get that again. But what else? There's a couple movies that are coming out. Ghostbusters, I don't give a shit about. I don't care. I hope it does well, though. I'm not rooting against it. I hope it does well, only because it would really shit on the female Ghostbusters. And there's other things coming out that'll get me back to the movie theater, I think. Oh, what's that Marvel movie? That Shang-Chi movie? Like, I don't know anything about that. I saw a trailer for it for the first time last night. I was like, oh, I don't know anything about that. So, I'm not going to see that. Do I know anything about the history of the creation of Wario? Kind of. I remember I actually was very curious about Wario fairly recently because Teddy, who I mentioned on the stream, he's 3, and he does call Wario Perry Mario. I'm gonna have to record him saying it so you guys get it. So it's very. He's like, "Can you play Perry Mario?" He's really cute about it, but because he associates Wario with Perry because he knows Perry. Shang-Chi, the MSU is dead. Yeah, it totally is. But getting back to Wario, no, I don't know. I know like where he came from in the GameCube games, but like I don't. Is Wario supposed to be related to Mario? Is he from another dimension? Like, what is? Yeah, I would like to know some canon backstory on Wario because, like I said, he's never been in a mainline Mario game. Other than like GameCube and stuff, and I don't know why he's not. He's a good character. He's good. He's interesting. Yeah, I'm with you too. I didn't love that Halloween that came out that everybody raved about. Jamie Lee Curtis. I thought it was okay. It was okay. It was definitely better than Halloween Resurrection, but I didn't think it was crazy. I've gone being fast tired now. I can't sleep. I know. I'm kind of the same way. I was lagging earlier. Now I have. Whatever. He's a certain caricature. Meaning Wario. Not trying to get Dr. banned, but Nintendo created it after they won a lawsuit against a bunch of Israelis trying to take Donkey Kong from them. That's interesting. No, I've never heard that. That's interesting. That's interesting. Huh. Oh, I can see it. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I can see that now. But yeah, no, but Wario's Bizarro Mario, right? Like, and then he has the brother Waluigi, but I don't know Waluigi outside of Mario Kart, or Mario Party. Tell Jeff I said hello. That's funny. I don't know. I just felt like I feel like in the next whatever the next mainline Mario game, like um, if they do like Odyssey 2 or whatever, instead of Bowser kidnapping Peach again, just put Wario in there in a major villain role. I don't know. Why not? Did I see the Electric Boogaloo documentary? I think that's the one I saw. Wasn't there two of them? Wasn't there two competing canon documentaries? I think that's the one I saw. Yeah, and I really liked it. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with canon, or definitely was. It was always the seal of shit. Like when you went in a video store and you saw the Canon logo, you knew what you were in for when you rented it. But I liked all those Chuck Norris movies. I fucking love Delta Force, by the way. I love Delta Force. It's funny. Delta Force was like free on YouTube. This was jeez, maybe this was back in November. It was definitely before the end of the year. It was like November, December. I remember it being cold out. And it was one of these nights I was just like, I couldn't go to sleep right away. And I was just looking on YouTube. And every now and then, YouTube has free movies that they, like, for a while, they had all the Bond movies were free on YouTube. And a suggestion came up, and it was like Delta Force. And I was like, man, I haven't seen Delta Force in a long time. And I started playing it. And I was like, I'm just going to watch the first 20 minutes of Delta Force. I haven't seen it. I watched that whole goddamn thing, beginning to end. And I didn't care what time it was. I didn't care what time I had to get up the next day. I fucking loved it. And I was just like, I felt, it made me feel patriotic. I was like, man, this just makes you feel like a good American, like watching this movie. I could have done with a good, I know they did a sequel to it, but I never saw it. Golden Globe. Yeah, Superman 4 was Golden Globe as canon, which is dreadful. No, I disagree, Pat Moriarty. I like Delta. I watched it as an adult and loved it, but for what it was, I knew what I was getting into. I know it's not high quality filmmaking, but I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I don't know how I'd feel if I was like an adult seeing it for the first time and like going to a movie theater and seeing it in like 1986, but whatever. Oh, speaking of 6, it's almost 6 o'clock in the morning. We should wrap it up. Anyway, I know Hero. It's weird when the West Coast people go to bed. It's late. I'm sure Hero's not around, but hit up Hero during the day tomorrow. Also hit up Joey. Two guys that work really hard for the channel. Joey really hustles his ass off, and I'm glad he got some love tonight. So it makes people feel good when you hit them up, like whether it's on Discord or Facebook. Like shoot them a message at some point tomorrow if you enjoyed the aspects that they contribute to, because that stuff with the alarm going off was fantastic, and that's all Hero. I facilitated the getting making sure that I recorded the outcome as best as I could, but that was all him. So shoot him a message, and makes people feel good when other people appreciate what they do. Because he definitely put a lot of effort into that. That was a high concept mailbag for sure. Yeah, He-Man was canon. I think I said that before. I never saw He-Man. I can't. Wow, the Death Wish 3 soundtrack was done by Jimmy Page. I can't remember. I remember seeing Death Wish 3 as a kid and knowing as I was watching it that I probably shouldn't be watching it because it was so it was very rated R-y. It was very like there's like a rape scene in there. It was rough, and I remember my friend's dad rented it, and they were watching it, and it was just like, you ever watch like when you're a kid and you watch something with like an adult in the room and there's like nudity and stuff or like sex stuff and you feel all weird and cringy. That's totally how I felt. It was one of those things. But all right, I'm gonna call it here. At 5 minutes to 6 in the morning. Jesus, you know, I knew starting an hour later on a Friday would be bad. It's just it wasn't gonna be good for the hour getting off, because Friday's late as hell as it is. But I'll make up for it. I'll try to start early on Sunday. We'll see. We'll see what goes on. We'll see what goes on for us New Yorkers, or us East Coasters, I should say, for this hurricane nonsense. A little early in the season for us. But all right, everybody have a good Saturday. I'll let you know how that steak goes tomorrow. I'm gonna try to find a steak, and we'll see. Oh, is it Deanna Troy? That guy. Oh, yeah. I don't remember. Yeah, I just remember being very uncomfortable watching it. Like I shouldn't be watching this, and I very rarely said that. But thanks, Misery Pip. Yeah, we'll be safe. We'll be good. The worst thing that's going to happen is I lose my power. I don't know when. Yeah, what can I say? So if the stream suddenly knocks off on Sunday, that's going to be why. But we'll see. Everybody have a great Saturday. Thanks. By the way, if you're somebody who hung in the entire stream, my hat's off to you, because I am feeling it for sure. So that's not easy. So thanks for hanging in there, and yeah, we'll do it again on Sunday. Well, we'll do it differently on Sunday, as we always do. Good night, guys.